Thank you very much. I was just reflecting while listening to Ava there that the remark you made at the beginning, Kate, about curating the three of us, because we've barely met each other kind of previously, but so many of the topics you're both talking about are so relevant to my whole career, and even particularly the talk I'm going to talk you guys through now. So I particularly like the idea of education and learning being a journey. I very much see it that way myself, and I'm kind of working on some material now where I hope to be able to use AI to solve, or at least partially solve or help with many of these problems, but over the whole journey, not just in content creation, for example. And I think some of the themes you heard Rose outline at the beginning, I think will probably become obvious as I go through my own presentation now. Just to give you a little background. So when I put together this couple of slides, I wanted to kind of very much focus on very practical use cases and some general ones about using AI in the context that we're talking about. And I reached out to a friend of mine who's actually a lecturer in a college in Dublin who uses AI extensively and spends a lot of his time coaching both the staff and the students in it as well. So I've tried to distill some very, very practical pieces here for use. However, if you're not using AI on a daily basis or you've no interest in using it, much of this won't be of interest to you. So I'll try and speak to every slide, but I'll try not to spend too long on every slide, and we'll see at the end if we've time for either more in-depth questions. Um, Something Kate and I agreed on early on when we met is the use of AI as a colleague rather than as a tool. I notice many people when they come to ChatGPT or one of these services first, using it like a Google search. They throw in a quick question, they take the results, and they leave. And you're really only using it very superficially if you're using it in this way with some thought and structure and some techniques. The results you can get are absolutely outstanding. In many parts of the technology industry, you can't get a job now unless you're using AI. I think the last number was 72,000 people have been let go from technology companies, particularly big ones, over the last year in favor of senior engineers using AI, etc. And I'm seeing that increasingly in jobs online, that people really want this familiarity and this kind of integration with AI. So the biggest advice I'd give folks is really spend your time, have a chat with it rather than just giving it an instruction. Like find where, ask it what it thinks, get it to review what you've done, brainstorm ideas. Don't be afraid to tweak the result that's come back and give it to again and ask it to improve it. And I'll go through a few different examples as we go through, but the difference in quality of output you'll get from that kind of dialogue is just astronomically different than the quick fire and forget. One thing, do verify. Rose mentioned about evaluations. That's so important when you're using AI as well, as in don't believe everything that ChatGPT gives you back. Please remember they're designed to please you, not to be right. If you don't believe me, Google how bad AI LLM systems are at doing basic maths for a start. But I've actually, when I've been building a website and I gave it some content and it produced the design for me, I noticed it had all these lovely client testimonials in there. And I looked at them closely and not one of them was real. They'd all been made up. And if you don't like literally watch everything it's doing, it's trying to please you, but it's not necessarily giving you what you want. So be very careful. On a couple of occasions, and again, this is well documented, AIs will lie to you. I'd won, I spent 3 months testing out AI from every aspect of building an application. And that's basically, just to give you an idea, that's 8 different roles or skill sets. And in the end, I was able to replicate the entire software team just using AI. But at one point, 2 points actually, I had a few disasters where I'll talk about later on. But basically, on one of them, the AI got into a bit of a mess. I don't understand how or why. It was perfectly normal the moment before, but crashed. So when I opened up the AI again, the chat went, hey, like it had just met me, right? I had no recollection of what had just happened. But worse, this is the crazy part, it had deleted the entire project we'd been working on. 438 files gone. And I don't mean gone as in put in the trash, we can go and restore it. I mean gone as in difficult to, even with forensic computing, recover it. The computer had no memory of it. The AI had no memory of it. It was just gone, right? So do be very careful at the same time. Um, these are just some bullet points. I found the moment at which I began trusting AI was filling in autocomplete on a piece of code I was writing. And it didn't just write what I wanted where I wanted it. It used my tone of voice in the exact same style from the two previous examples on that page that I'd been using. And I just realized that actually this could be a real force multiplier in what I was doing if I began to engage more deeply with the system. So now if I'm doing anything complex or longer term, I have a conversation first before I tell it to give it the prompt. Literally, here's an idea I've got. What do you think? What would be best practice? And you'll find that when you put that into an outline or a draft, it's much higher quality. Um, and again, I'll give you a few additional techniques later on, which might surprise you as they did me. Um, Prompting, it's quite easy to do. It's very hard to do well. There's a number, it's very well written about online. You can easily find lots of ways to do it, but it is the key to success. It's the last, there's like three or four places in most AI systems where you can influence the quality of what they're doing and making it repeatable, which is another big task. Um, but learning how to prompt and taking up some of those hints and tips will drastically improve your workflow. The simplest one I'll give you is start with your goal, give it your instructions and examples and whatever else you need to give it, and then state your goal again, right? They forget sometimes. So reminding them of exactly what you're looking for is very important and will produce bigger results for you. Um, a couple of hints and tips people don't know about, depending on the system you're using, you can use that at symbol and mention any file in your project or on your folder, and the AI will go and read that document and now know what you know. And now you can go and ask it questions or use that information to do something else. Incredibly powerful tool, rather than cutting and pasting from every source you have. Another one is keywords. Think step by step or think very carefully um, is incredibly powerful. You will actually notice that it will take potentially 3 or 4 minutes sometimes to give you an answer because it is going off and thinking really carefully about what you want. So, especially if you're doing something complex and multi-step, like a lesson plan or a very detailed tutorial, always get it to go through that step first and then give you the results after. And it's again remarkable results. Some AI systems have um, words that are very particular to them. For some reason, one of the coding agents has a horrible word called ultra think. And when you do ultra think, it's flawless in what it comes out with. But just saying, tell me what your best shot is with this, the results are very, very different. Um, don't be afraid of going multimodal. By that I mean most of the modern systems like ChatGPT and Gemini and Claude, you can actually copy and paste an image or a drawing or a sketch into the chat and ask it questions about your sketch. The diagram you're looking at in front of me there is a diagram I got Claude to produce that just documented the schema for a database of the app we were building. On a later point, I wanted to reuse the schema for another project. So I took the same image, dropped it into Claude GPT, or sorry, Claude, not ChatGPT, and said, build me the database. And it literally did. It was flawless first time. So don't be afraid of another thing. I know some people love to talk. You can literally have some of them talk back to you. So you can literally have a dialogue with them or even put them in a role play with a prompt and you're having a conversation.